Hopefully the drilling in the background isn't too disturbing, if you guys can hear it. I hope you can't. If you can, I'm terribly sorry. But we're gonna have to deal with that for today. So, this episode of the lovely Homebrew Kitchen, I am going to be talking you through the creation of a lovely little NPC that I made, who is in fact not little and is quite large. In fact, that's their size specification. So I made this for my Sunday game, which is based in Wildmount and is a pirate campaign. My party are members of the Revelry, one of the party members is the captain, and they have their own ship and they sail around and they are really nice, and it sucks. They're being such nice people. So yeah, nevertheless, I have decided that with this game, I made a set of other captains as part of the Revelry, including putting the planking in there because it's the planking, you know. And I like a lot of them. Some of them I took from the book and their general concepts from things taken from the book or things that just made sense. One or two of them were created around party members and their backstories and how they wrote in that a lot of their backstories were affected by pirates, which helps for a pirate campaign. So I really appreciate that. So at any time there are 6 NPC captains roaming the seas doing what they do. They're all varying alignments, abilities, and they're all different in their own right, but most of them are pretty piratey in how they act, to varying degrees of stereotypes. The first one they encountered, who was the first quest, if you will, was Captain Deadman, a ghost pirate with a ship of zombies, which was fun as hell, and a zombie giant shark, which was also fun as hell. So yeah, I liked that guy, but then the party killed him because the lovely captain of the crew had their previous ship sunk by Captain Deadman and went to go and get revenge. Captain Deadman was a very typical, "Arr!" you know, that sort of pirate. So that was funny to play. Some other ones are like more traditionalist. So I have a captain called Captain Fenton Presley, who is quite your typical, probably was a dashing rogue 20 years ago, but he's getting on now, and he's been around for a while, that sort of thing. Picture Jack Sparrow, but if he got old and dull. And there's some I went a little bit outside the box with. So Captain Scott Keane, Quiwe is his name, and he is a massive sorcerer who is a bastard who just does what he wants. And today's one that we're talking about is certainly also outside of the box because this is a fantasy world. How I'm gonna do this is whenever one of the captains dies within the next few sessions, I'm gonna make a new NPC captain and put them on the seas just to kind of even it out and always have the party interacting with all the pirates and still having that Revelry presence in the campaign. In particular, I'd like to talk to you about a captain that I have made called Captain Fatbones. He's Captain Fatbones because he's the biggest captain in the Revelry at a whopping 10 foot tall, and he is Fishman, and I really like this dude. He's a pretty powerful captain. I've made him with boss monster attitude, understanding that he will be the top dog of his crew and stuff like that, and that I should probably make him a little more powerful than other random people. So he has a lot going on with him. I literally am just using the image for Tom Kench from League of Legends for it. Just that guy. And it's pretty obvious that, well, not entirely obvious because Lukatha are medium, but he's a Lukatha. I just made him large because why not, right? Why can't we have a big old lovable fish captain? So I'll talk to you guys about how to fit these sorts of NPCs into your story first, and how I in particular worked it in. I think a key thing when I was going into this was me thinking, right, what the hell does Fatbones do for the story that isn't already being done? And that is adding a new element of weirdness. I think that, honestly, the way that my party has been going, they've been in a Yuan-Ti city recently, and it's been a bit weird. But when they're faring on the high seas, it's all pretty tame, honestly. Sure, there's, you know, this typical stuff happening, and it's fun and all, but there's no massive fishman who sings. So that's where Fat Bones comes in. It was more so out of just a desire to play this character, this type of character. Literally just been playing a bunch of League and Tom Kench has been on my mind. He's just so hot. I think that, as well as that, I also considered how my party would interact with him, and it's probably going to be pretty friendly because the captain is also a bard rogue kind of combination, and they're both going to be getting on pretty well, I would imagine, which I'm very excited for. So fingers crossed that all goes well, because Fat Bones is, I believe, yeah, he's neutral good. He's doing what he wants away from the Concord, but he's not doing it, he's not using that excuse to do whatever he wants. He's not using the fact that he's avoiding the Concord for any sort of misdeeds. He's genuinely trying to bring a bit of good to the world. He has a bunch of Sahuagin with him on the ship. He has a Sahuagin crew. Normally they're evil, but I've kind of remodeled this a little bit so that all the Sahuagin were perhaps converted by Captain Fat Bones and his awesomeness. So yeah, he's weird as hell. And I think something that you should probably consider as well when you're making an NPC is, what am I going to get out of this? Is this going to be fun for me, or is this NPC just going to be lame and serve the story in a boring way, be like a lore dump? There can certainly be fun lore dump characters. Artist Simba in Tomb of Annihilation is a great example of that. Despite him pretty much his main purpose being a lore dump and story beat, he is in himself a pretty interesting and intriguing character to me. So yeah, that's kind of how I view that, at least. So let's move on to how the heck Captain Fat Bones works and what he does. Keep in mind that my party is currently level 8, and that, well, level 7 and level 8 are a bit of a split because I'm doing XP, and that this might not be entirely balanced for their current party level and makeup, because Fat Bones is going to be around for a while, and he might scale up if the party ever want to fight against him for any reason. Who knows, maybe he finds treasure and he wants it, and the party's like, no, we want it, and he's like, well, you know what pirates do. Kablamo. But yeah, for now he's a little bit out of their league. But after a few levels, we'll probably be on the same page as the party, so that should be good. So balance is not a factor here, more so just making an interesting creature to fight. So please keep that in mind as I make an extremely powerful person. So Captain Fat Bones is a large Lukatha, which is, you know, the fish people. And he is neutral good. Using the natural armor trait that Lukatha gets, which allows them to, when they're not wearing armor, have 12 plus their dexterity, he has 14. Not bad. The main reason I reason that he has good dexterity is that he's constantly aware, and it can be pretty quick to jump into the fray. His hit points are the largest of any of the captains, except maybe the Plank King, I'd have to check that, is 221, or 25d8 plus 105. That's his con helping right there. He's got some good con, because big fish boy, massive. He has a 40-foot normal speed and a 40-foot swimming speed because he's a fish, and he's a big fish. So I thought, hey, it'd be cool if he's pretty fast. It would be pretty freaking intimidating, this massive fat fish man just with his bulging gut just running towards you with his freaking tongue out. I'm not going to go over the specific numbers for all of his stats, but just know that generally strength and con and charisma are great. I heavily, to counter for the fact that this dude's powerful, gave him pretty obvious weaknesses. His wisdom's 10 and his intelligence is 9. He is not the brightest fellow, but he can talk pretty good. None of this is really important, so let's move on to his features. So for starters, I took some of the features that the Lukatha get that I thought make sense for him. For one, Leviathan Will, which gives him advantage on saving throws against being charmed, frightened, paralyzed, poisoned, stunned, or being put to sleep. I can't think of a single point in the game where you need to make a saving throw against being put to sleep, but hey, might happen. There might be a trap that puts you to sleep, so he'd have advantage on this. Nevertheless, he's going to have advantage on a lot of saves against status conditions. Most of them are wisdom, so it doesn't help him out too much there. But some of them are con, which he has an amazing con save, so he's going to be very hard to, say, stunning strike. We don't have a monk in that group, but if we did, they would absolutely hate this dude. Also, he has limited amphibiousness, where he can breathe air and water, but needs to submerge once every 4 hours to avoid suffocation. Just makes sense. You know, he's a fishman. He can be on the surface for a bit, just so that he can be on the surface, which is, you know, good. I'll go over his actions, where he gets his multi-attack. Fat Bones makes 2 tongue lash attacks, and he can replace one of these attacks with a swallow. So, as a quick thing as well, when you're a DM and you're running a monster, check their multi-attack and check their attacks and see if there's a better order to do it in. Often, an enemy will have like a bite attack that is like second, and the first one is like a whack. But if you do a bite attack and then a whack, it does more, if you know what I mean. So just check to see if you're not missing anything. So his tongue lash is 15-foot reach, because he's a big dude and his tongue is fucking massive. And he has a +9. He can hit one target. It does 2d8 plus 5 slashing damage, and they're grappled. And he can automatically hit on more tongue lashes if he chooses to do it on the same target that he has grappled by the tongue. DC 17 to get out. I think this sort of stuff with like being grappled by big things that hit you and grab you is great. It gives an enemy more to do with their action and allows them to more reliably get more stuff done, which is something that creature stat blocks do lack, so that the players can get more stuff done. That's what the players should do. And then we have the swallow attack, which he can do to a grappled target, preferably by his tongue. If it hits, it does 2d6 plus 5 slashing damage, 4d4 acid damage, because this dude's stomach acid is frickin' big. If a creature starts their turn in his belly, they take 6d4 acid damage, and they can like deal damage to him within it to make him have to make a con save or blurt him out. And yeah, there's a lot of like little rules that are in there that I'm going to be applying. But the main way that Fat Bones is going to work is he's going to tongue lash, pull you in, bite. And if he hits the bite, you're screwed because you're swallowed, and then you're in there. You can only swallow one dude because he's only kind of big. Swallowing might not be a good idea, because the last time I tried doing that with my Sunday group, they turned into a giant ape inside the thing and just kind of ripped out of it. So the balance behind this dude is he doesn't do a load of damage with his regular attacks. They're more than regular weapons, but he only gets like 2 in comparison to a lot of the other captains. So like on average, I think most of the captains have 3 attack multi-attacks to my memory. I think like Fenton, the old dude, has 2 instead, and the sorcerer has none because he's a sorcerer. But yeah, he's probably one of the smallest damage outputs, unless he gets 2 rounds to probably set everything up and he rolls good, when then the party member is screwed. To add some more fun to it, he's also a 9th level bard. So he has a lot of spells. I'm not going to go over all of them. I'm just going to go over some of the ones that kind of make sense for him. Animal friendship, because he swims around a lot and sometimes needs to just say hi guys, bye guys to big animals that want to eat him. Thunderwave, because Thunderwave's fun. Tasha's hideous laughter is very fun as well. He has major image, which is very cool to mess with the players on, because players will never assume, they always assume what they're looking at is real if you describe it as if it were. So if you're a DM and you say, a massive dragon crashes through into the room and tears asunder the entire place and screams in your face, the party are not going to think, fake. So that's why major image is very good against players. Confusion and Dimension Door and Dominate Person once a day, because he's a level 9 and he only has 1 5th level spell slot. Dominate Person is a very cool thing to do at the start of an encounter, to basically say, ah, fuck you, and cause party members to have more priorities and more things to do in the encounter. I love when they do that, when people are charmed and or like messed with and shit, and you have to deal with that. It's great. Nevertheless, that's Captain Fat Bones and all of his stat bones. Let me know what you think about him in terms of both mechanics and his roleplay purposes. We can build on him more. I haven't properly expanded on this dude's backstory. I don't feel like I need to with most of these. The only ones I really have are the ones tied to backstory, or the ones that I intend to ingrain into the story a bit more than others. Because some captains are going to be pretty held back on the sidelines, if you know what I mean. They're not going to really be involved as much as others might be. In any case, thank you for watching. I'm not sure what we're going to do for the next one, but it's going to be fun because I'm constantly making stuff. I've been building a dungeon today and yesterday, and there are some of the weirdest rooms in it. So I might do an episode on some of the weird rooms and how to make some wacky ass dungeon shit. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. It's always a nightmare to start recording. This has got to go in the bloopers reel.
I'm signing off to watch Kiki's delivery service. Adios.
Hey Laura, keep that in.
No.
It'd be pretty funny. I'm laughing.